All right, I don't know why Spirit is having me film this video, but I listen to my intuition. You should too. And it's like, today has been one of the wildest days. And I think that's why we're documenting this is I know something cool happens soon. It's been lingering for like 6 months and I've been through harshness. I've been through hell. I've been through delays, disappointments, and essentially had to cut off a bunch of things and people. And you think when you do that, it gets better. But it's like, this has been a good word I heard in a message is perseverance, which as a kid, my mom will tell you, I heard this book at school, and what grade was that? I think that was in the fourth, no, that was in fifth or sixth grade about perseverance, and it was my favorite word, and I can tell you in going through perseverance, I'm not a fan of it, and I know it's going to lead to good things, but it's like, as a creative, it's like, and I created a video of like, actually I haven't yet, but it's like, you got to aimlessly create sometimes. Sometimes we're all about deadlines and, finishing this and that and blah, 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 and client work and blah, blah, it's like, it's all just irrelevant to the point of like creating is creating. And when you can endlessly create, even when you don't feel like it, and find means to sit down and create and just let it run, it's amazing what happens. And it's like today I woke up just absolutely burnt out. And I do this thing with an app I've built, and this is what we're going to talk about this a little bit. It's like I built an app called Eden, and it stands for Energy Design, as in human design, environment, and navigation. And it's like I created this as a solution to my own problem because I'm a mental projector. That means my throat and third eye is defined, and the environment is my intuition, as most 70% of the world is generators or manifesting generators, and they have this sacral energy. I don't. I just have, when I'm in alignment, that's what I get. And it's hard because half the world's like, initiate, grind, stress, pressure. 70% of the world says that. I'm in 1% of the world that doesn't operate that way. And when I ask for help, they're like, work harder, do more, grind more stress, more pressure. And my favorite is they're like, initiate. And I'm like, and I've seen this in ayahuasca, I've seen this in my own life, and as a projector, when I initiate, I create resistance. So imagine being a content creator and a marketer, a creative entrepreneur, a website developer, and app developer now, and it's like having all these skills, and it's like, I aimlessly build, but what do I do with it? And it's like, endlessly is like the method I've seen is like, when I create it, I build something out of the blue, I aimlessly create it, I'm like, wow, that's pretty dope. And then people show up asking if I can build what I just did. Like, that's how I market. But it's been this really rough time lately, and I woke up today and I'm at all ends with it. And it's like, and what I was getting at is like mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, I've been going up and down. Today I woke up and was just like a 2 across the board. I was like, my body felt like shit. It's tired, it's tight, it's exhausted, it's heavy. My mind, no channel. Normally I have all these thoughts and downloads coming in, and I'm just like, ah. Today I woke up and was like, dude, I feel like I got hit by a bus. Emotionally, zapped. Like I feel apathetic and can give a shit about anything, right? And then spiritually, I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm living in hell today. So, and it's like, and today's Saturday, and I just got back in town and, shot an event, tried to get a client project done to create some space to work on this, and then poof, there was no energy, there was no time, and then it's like, and then I had all this just like garbage circulating in my aura of all these emotions and things, and I was like, and it's like in a projector's world, we hit this part where we get resentful and bitter when we're burnt out, and it's like, bro, I'm so exhausted. Like I had to reach out to a friend and just soundboard just to clear it, because it's like I can't. And that's another unique thing about a mental projector is like we can't just think about it in our head. It'll create more tension and confuse us versus like getting it out. And something I created was this app Eden just to track it. And it's like, and then Claude's doing Fable at like half the rate or whatever. And I was like, oh, and we started playing with it more. And I built it, and I'm like, this thing's badass. And now I'm like, it's even getting to the degree that life's been so rough. And this is what I'm getting at with this video is like, life's been so rough lately that even today when I'm a 2 across the board, I'm working on this thing. And I didn't want to, but I talked to a friend, cleared some energy, it opened it up a little bit. And I filmed a YouTube video, which I've been on a 30-day challenge. Funny that energy drops when you do these challenges, right? But then started working on this, and it almost like, it was showing me to work on this, and I'm like, I don't have the energy for it. And as soon as I sat down, it was like, oh, all the problems in my life, it's a great time to put it in to build this, because I don't think they're showing up to hurt me. It's like when you're building something, sometimes the worst things show up so that you can capture those feelings and that pain and that discomfort, and you can do something about it, right? Because it's like, try to build something that solves a problem when you're on a 10 out of 10. Like, it's pretty easy, but you don't really hit all the problems. You hit all the highlights. And if it's something that creates solutions for others, you have to be willing to build it when you're in your lowest amount of energy. And it's like, it sucks, but it's like, if you think about the polarity. It's like, I'm feeling my absolute worst I've felt in months, and it's been a hard 6 months, and I'm like all the way down here, and I'm building this solution so that I can feel up here, right? But if I capture everything that's happening down here to the degree of the details and what I'm not seeing and what I'm looking at, and I'm like, I built this as a solution. It's not giving me a solution. So what else do I need to see? That is everything you need to finish whatever you're working on. And I've seen this across the board with multiple stuff I've built. Like Weekender Collective, when I was building that, I acquired a clothing company that I wanted to turn into an online community. And it's a badass idea, but it's like, man, every time I sit down and start working on it, it's like agency stuff flows up, life gets chaotic, travel comes in, I'm all over the place. And as simple as it is to post one thing per day, it's like my nervous system, my bandwidth can't handle it with everything that's coming in. And then everything that's coming in pays for the free time to build stuff like that, right? Oxymoron. But it's like, in something like that, when I was building Weekender Collective, that was for people that wanted to escape the 9-to-5 and create a life worth living, which is what I did at some point in my life. And then I started building that. And you'd think, like, I've been through the path, it should be easy to build. It's like life was putting me back in that position of what somebody feels. And it's like every time I try to do it, life would speed up. And it's like every time somebody, wants to leave corporate or something, like corporate speeds up and they can't put attention towards it. Same thing with this app. Is like when I started building it, it was just fun and playing with AI. And then I was like, oh my God, I think I just built something here. And I saw it and I've been using it. And I was like, wow, this thing's creating a lot of clarity for me on the really tough days. But then in today being one of the toughest days, it's like, this thing is, it's really got my attention on like, all right, today sucks. We're in the lowest of the low. We're in the hardest of the hard. We're in the depleted of the depleted. What else do I need to see on this in order to, if I hit this point again, how can we, switch out of it quickly? And then it's like, if people that say this gets out there, or I put it out there and we start running betas through it and stuff, then it will allow me to give it to somebody and be like, hey, try this out. See if you can catch the signs or the patterns. And that's essentially what it does, is identify all the patterns of the environment, your energy, your health and wellness, blah, 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 so you can understand what is actually working for you and what's not. Because I don't know if you're like me, but a lot of times I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, let's do it. And it's like, sometimes I get an intuitive ping that's like, be careful. And then sometimes that intuitive ping's not there. And then, for instance, like say I'm on a trip and I agreed to be there for a week with somebody and I'm like, oh, fuck, what are we doing here? This is not a good idea. And it's like, life has put me in so many chaotic pins that I'm like tired of getting in those. It's like, how can we get around those? And it's like, maybe a part of the soul's lesson was learn how to handle it discerningly. But it's still like, as cool as this thing is too, it's like, you can't bypass what is meant for your soul. And when you allow your soul to go through the processes that it initiates and you approach them with grace and ease, and stop trying to figure them out as soon as possible, but go through the process and, handle the tension inside of it. It's like, if you can hold the tension, you can hold the gift, and the tension leads you to the gift. And it's like, this is a big nervous system exercise, but it's like, if you're like this and you're trying to hold something this big, you got to learn to open up to catch it. And a lot of times that's what life does, is it throws us in the hardest, most chaotic, most squeezed, most delayed, most disappointing and brutal conditions, so that we can learn to soften even more, which doesn't make sense, right? But everything in this world's polarized. It's the opposite. If you want it, you got to do the opposite to receive it. And it's like, the more you can hold that tension and continue to open up, when it lands, it's going to land. Because a lot of times too, I believe it's like, we get put in the washing machine or the pressure cooker. We get put in these situations and we're like, life is really good. And then it's like, what happened? And those are rapid growth phases. And I know I'm going through a rapid growth phase. Like, what I've been through feels harder than when I got done with ayahuasca back in 2024 in October. It was like for 6 months, or practically from December of 2024 until I moved to Austin, Texas in October 1st of 2025, I was literally going through hell. And I'd say that the tension started to lighten up around July. So that was like 7-8 months. But then I got to Austin, and everything I took from Kansas City, I brought into Austin. And I feel like even in living here for 9 months, I haven't had time to like just get settled and ground. It's like I brought work in from Kansas City to Austin and then got here and had to get all that stuff done. And then I got done with that. It was the end of the season. And then I was in a new city and was like, oh shit, we gotta start networking and shit. We can't just like take a break. And then it's like, did that. And then that led me to a mastermind and a vision party where all this ideation came out of nowhere. And then it was like, I was looking forward to a winter where I could rest and recover from a hard year. And then it's like, when the downloads are coming in and pouring in, you just aren't like, oh yeah, we'll get to that later. And it's like, and then I built it and I went with it and I flipped because directions and everything came in crystal clear. And then halfway through, the universe is like, whoop, by the way, we're going to switch this up a little bit. And I'm like, and it's like everything I banked on, poop, rug pulled out from under me. And I'm like, okay, cool, we'll roll with this. Rolling with it. Rug gets pulled out again. Had to go back into another pressure cooker. Did that. Rug gets pulled out again. And it's like, my soul is just seeking solid ground right now. And it is just getting tossed around. As soon as there's a rug, it gets pulled. As soon as there's stability, it gets pulled. And it's like, okay, maybe, and it's even in saying this, is like, maybe my soul's being taught how to live in the most chaotic conditions to create its own stability, which has been a big part of my life. But I'm at this point where I'm like, I am so exhausted. I am so drained. I am so depleted that I don't care what's coming around the corner. And I'm not even looking to tomorrow and not looking back at yesterday. It's just like essentially allowing myself to sit in the moment and feel what I'm feeling and then allow the solutions to come in, because it's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. It seems like it's a collective thing, but it's like whatever's going on, my soul needs it to end, and needs it to end quick, because I don't know what's going on. And this is a process. And then everything I read of like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and Oprah, it's like they went through similar processes. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool to be in the same kind of talk as them and stuff that I'll dump into AI. But then I'm also just like, and it feels like an old part of my life is dying, and I'm okay with letting it go, but it also feels like the new one hasn't opened up yet. And that's what it feels like. I'm on the in-betweens as I'm sitting here. I literally feel like this is the old life, this is the new life. And it's like, this one looks like a lot of work, and that was the old life. This one looks like a lot of, we got some nature, some paradise, maybe some nomadic travel. But it's to this point where I'm like, how can I be ready for the new life if I'm exhausted from the closing of all this? And I don't know what is closing, but it feels karmic. It feels like shit. And I just talked to a friend too. It's like the old me was such a people pleaser without boundaries. And it's like, and I just had such a joyful happiness, giving nature. And it's like so many people took advantage of that. And in order to close that cycle out, what do you have to do is like, you can't be a people pleaser. You got to have good boundaries. And that caused so much havoc in my life out of nowhere. And it's just been like, and you think too, it's like you close that shit off and you shut it down and you're like, no. And then it's like, it almost makes life even tougher as like a test, right? Is what it feels like. And even in saying that, I'm like, yeah, this feels like a test and a challenge. And I'm like, okay, what do you do? And it's like, and then new people started appearing, but then it's also like, there's so much pain and trauma and agony and struggle from all that it's like, when do you start trusting and opening up, right? And I don't know if that's what I'm being called to do, but it's like, it's so hard to trust and open up when every situation that you've been trusting and open to has burned you. And with the being burned and betrayal and the things that have happened recently, I'm not taking any of them on myself, but it's like, as a human with emotions that is sensitive and can feel a lot and is extremely psychic, it's like, even when your intuition's pinging you and telling you to be careful, it's like, if that's the only option, you have to choose like boredom and solitude, or like, well, let's see if that gets a little better. Or even if it's financially related, it's like, well, nothing else is appearing. So even though we so and forth have options here on earth, it seems like that's the only option. And somebody would be like, that's a limiting belief. And I'd say, step in my reality for a day. I'm curious to see what you would do, And it's just an oxymoron of a reality. And it seems like I don't even know. I don't know what's happening, but it seems like it's a tough time. And if you're somebody going through a tough process like this, like, A, you're not alone. B, congrats to you for choosing yourself. And this is all stuff that I'm saying to myself. But if somebody's watching this, if this is a video I post, like, honestly, like, hopefully you can relate to it. But if you've cut off that part of yourself, like, props to you for choosing yourself and choosing solitude over people taking advantage of you, and knowing your kind-hearted nature and feeding into it instead of honoring the gift in front of them and allowing it to be what you bestow and return it, And then it's the other is like, good for you for setting boundaries and cutting off people that didn't understand the boundaries. And same as the other, the people pleasers, like they're just like choose to walk all over you. When it's like, for instance, if I see somebody, I have a friend who's very kind, and he's such a gem, and it's like I never walk over him. If anything, I'm fun and playful with him because it brings out more of his personality, but it's never like, there's many times that I could have taken advantage of him, and I was like, I hate it when people do it to me. Why would I do it to somebody else? And it's like, and then I watch people take advantage of them, and I'm like, oh, like, why did somebody choose to do that? I will never understand it. But even at the end of the day, like, props for you for going through this and taking the high road. And even when you're exhausted and depleted, still choosing that high road, even though it's the hardest thing you've had to do. And then waking up the next day and just facing it all again and again and again. It's like, at some point, and whenever this process closes for me, I'm going to be grateful, and I'll create a video of inspiration on the other side. But it's like, whatever this is, and it feels like the end of it to me, especially if I'm creating this video, that's what I'm giving me a good omen there. But it's like, I don't know when this is going to end. This is the hardest thing I've ever been through. This is the most draining, just process. And if you're in it too, it's like, this too shall pass. And even in saying that just brings me any hope, because I'm like, fuck, I hope it passes tomorrow. But it's also like, go through it. It's a process. It's growth. It's going to lead you to gifts. Those gifts will blow your mind, but you can't have the blessings till you go through the lessons. And when you learn the lessons and you shift out of them, then you get the blessings. So let's hope we all have some blessings coming in, because I need some blessings, and I'm going to call them in on this video because I am exhausted, I'm depleted, and I am tired of having to defend everything around me. And not in a sense too, it's like, I'm not choosing to defend, it's just what's showing up. And it's like, let people walk over you without boundaries and people please, or set up some defense where it's like, I'm not fucking moving, try to move me, like we can, and I'm not gonna fight with you. It's just like, we can have a conversation and then I'll clear everything. But if you can't talk normal, then we can't either. So, but hopefully that cleared my mind, and hopefully it cleared yours. So hopefully we make it through this. Sorry for the blue message today, but it's a part of life. We're going to get through it. Cheers to the next season. See you on the next video.